So we just covered a little bit about the structure of an atom, and now we want to think about molecules. Again, in any science class that you're going to take, you're going to run into these words, atoms and molecules, because often what you want to be doing in a science class is thinking about how the world works, and to think about how the world works, you really need to be thinking on the molecular atomic level, how is matter interacting with matter? Understanding atoms is key because atoms are the building blocks of all the matter that exists. But in some ways, we could actually think of the building blocks as being molecules. Atoms are the building blocks of molecules, and molecules, it's maybe better said, are the building blocks of all substances on Earth. So atoms could be said to be the building blocks of the building blocks, and molecules themselves are the things that build all the different substances that we have in the universe. A molecule is just two or more atoms combined. So for example, let's take two of the most common substances whose chemical formulas most of us know. The first would be water. The chemical formula for water is H2O. Many of us know that that H2O formula signifies that a water molecule contains two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. And those hydrogen atoms are bonded to the oxygen atom. They're connected to it. Those connections, again, are called bonds. And in this case, in the case of a water molecule, the connection between the hydrogen atom and the oxygen atom is bonded through a sharing of electrons. Different atoms can bond in different ways. Atoms can bond by becoming negatively charged or positively charged and connecting to an atom of an opposite charge. And again, as I said, they can bond by sharing electrons. Ultimately, understanding what a molecule is fairly simple once you understand what an atom is. But it's key to understand that these are two separate concepts and not to get them confused. Atoms build molecules. Molecules themselves build many of the substances that we then see on the Earth. Let's just take one other example. Carbon dioxide gas, CO2. Carbon dioxide gas is often referenced in science classes. It's the gas that we breathe out as we respire. And it's also a gas that's said to be the cause of global warming and is pointed to as a major cause of climate change. CO2, if we look at the molecule, CO2 is just a carbon atom bonded to two oxygen atoms. Again, we can see this is what makes it a molecule. We've got the building blocks, the atoms themselves, that build up this thing, but the chemical that we actually experience in the world, CO2, is a molecule, multiple atoms put together. Sometimes you may hear about substances that seem like they're pure elements. Like, for example, we talk about oxygen. We breathe pure oxygen, and so you may think that when you breathe pure oxygen, you're breathing a single atom of oxygen at a time. But what you're really breathing are oxygen molecules. Oxygen in the atmosphere exists in the form O2, two oxygen atoms bonded together into an oxygen molecule. So it's important to remember that even in those cases where we have two of the same element bonded together, it's still considered a molecule. Thanks for watching this episode of Tutor This. As always, if you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, leave them in the comments below. Remember to click the like button below, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, hit subscribe.